Is anyone downstairs who wants to come up? Please come up. No one heard that probably. Okay. So good morning and welcome to October HARP Sunday service, which is the first one since the summer workshop. So, how's everyone doing in school? Those September feelings, right? When you're going back to school, you get your new pencil case, your new shoes. No? Okay. But today's sermon is going to be given to us by our elder brother Samuel Reed. And we've also got a new harp band as well, who will be on the stage today performing for the first time, so please support them as well and sing really loudly. This week for me has been rather interesting because I live with the Franklin family. And just before you guys came in, I'm sure you saw a load of people leaving with suits and nice clothing. Is because Auntie Mary Franklin passed away 2 days ago, I think, 3 days ago. And so yeah, it's been a really interesting experience for me to be in a household when people are grieving and mourning, you know what I mean? And they've been amazing, really, really amazing, but it's been a very interesting experience for me. So coming from that to this, it's like very interesting. So I'm sure maybe you feel like the atmosphere is a little bit different in here today because there were so many people in here and yeah, it was a very wonderful experience. So let's welcome up the harp band for our first few songs.
The trip not traveling gets long, wishing for a new day to come. When the sun rises in the morning, we'll set sail and move on, and we'll be sailing with our Father. You know His ship will never sway. Oh, new hope on the horizon. We found the promised land today. Look home with joy in your eyes. The winds of truth will guide your way, leaving behind the raging sea. Oh, waves of love will sail away, and we'll be sailing with our Father. You know His ship will never sway. Oh, new hope on the horizon. We found the promised land today. Darkness it always turns to light. The promised land is inside. He's our guiding star by night, and in the day our bright sunlight. And we'll be sailing with our Father. You know His ship will never sway. Oh, new hope on the horizon. We found the promise.
Today.
'Cause
Dearest Heavenly Parent, thank you so much that we can be gathered here today as our HARP group after a long summer and at the beginning of a new academic year. We can take on this year with gusto and with enthusiasm and with passion, and that you can really be with us today here during the sermon and with everyone who can't make it here today. I'd like to offer this prayer now in my name, Ruth Johnson, wife of Daniel Lyder, a blessed central couple, our Jew. Okay, so please be seated. Okay, so we've got some announcements. The first one being there's a South London workshop. Can I have the next slide? Yeah. Okay, so from the 30th to the 31st, there's a South London workshop open to any region. And this is organised by the committee. I think Amy, Samuel, Amelia, and Dom, right? So they've said it's open to anybody, and the registration closes on the 27th. So please apply soon so they can get an idea of numbers and how much food they need to buy. It costs £7, which is really good for 2 days, right? And you need to bring a sleeping bag and a notebook. So if you want to apply, so please email southlondonharp@gmail.com. Let them know that you're coming, and if you have any food intolerances or dietary requirements or anything like that. The next announcement is not on there, and that is that applications for the winter workshop will be open soon, okay? So keep your eyes peeled for that, because they go pretty fast, the spaces. Okay, so I think that's it. So if we can welcome up the band again for our next song. Can you help me sing Happy Birthday? That's why I asked you to come up.
Yeah.
Okay, so can everyone have their birthday since the HARP workshop until now come up to the front? So that's August, September, and October. Don't be shy. The band member, anyone else? I think Holly is teaching in a seat that needs she needs to come to. Anyone else? Alistair. Oh, okay. Who else? Joanna? This Joanna. Can you go to the front? No, come on. Amy. Hannah. I'm not harsh. It's okay. Everyone's half at heart. Come on. Anyone else? Any parents? Happy birthday? Come on. Okay, so if your band want me to sing some birthday, you don't have to play instruments, it's okay? Okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, everybody. Happy birthday to you. One more time. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, everybody. Happy birthday to you. Go ahead, blow them out, guys. Everyone just stare into them. 1, 2, 3. You can all stand up and take stop.
Hey guys! So now we're going to do like a performance song called Miracles by Coldplay. I don't know if many of you know it. It's from the new film Unbroken. It's the soundtrack from that. So hope you enjoy it.
From above my heart, the angels sing to me these words.
So I'm just going to introduce our sermon giver, whom you probably already know because he helps so much with youth in Hands-On for so many years. And that's Samuel. I went to work just with him. I don't know if I was ever on his team. No, in Camberg, right? Yeah, I was. But yeah, he's a really great older brother. I'm sure a lot of you know of him because you're in his region. And no doubt he'll give us a really lovely sermon today. So please welcome up Samuel Lee.
Hi everyone, how's it going? Hello. Thanks. Alright, hi guys, how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, so Ruth asked me to give this is a funny story actually. Ruth asked me to give this sermon 3 months ago, and she almost completely forgot. But I came still, and I still have the message. So it's okay. So the title of the sermon today that I'd like to talk to you guys about is the most important to have in life. Damn, that's pretty important, right? It's like, wow, that's quite a good sermon title. It's like, this could be good. So I was thinking in preparation for this sermon, I was like, okay, how can I connect to the Harpies? What can I talk to? How can I like connect to them into their lives and really relate with them? And I was like, yes, I know. What's that song? Let me whip. Now let me. I was like, how can I get that into the sermon? I was like, this is really important. Let me whip. And I was like, I don't know though. The most important thing in life, probably not. Anyway, I saw that music video, and I was like, it's pretty cool actually. So, to get serious now, what is the most important thing in life? So, what do you guys think? Think about it yourself. What is the most important thing? Success. Success can be good. I've just graduated from university. I'm looking for a job. It would be cool to be successful. Who wants to be successful here? Right? Successful, make money, make a lot of money, get a good job, have a kind of a lot of influence, a good position in society. That could be cool. Love. How about love? Who thinks it's love? There's gonna be a lot of interaction today, guys, so you're gonna have to get used to this, okay? So, love. Like, yeah. Who wants love in their life? Who thinks that's probably the most important thing in life? Right? Yeah. Happiness. Okay. There's got to be happiness, right? Right? Yeah. It's got to be happiness. Like, everyone wants to be happy. Power. Someone was like, yeah, over there. Power, maybe. There's this quote from, I studied politics, right? So there's a political philosophy quote that goes, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. I was like, wow, it's kind of like something, the fact that, power makes everyone sort of, do bad things in the end. But I don't know, some people have a lot of power, but you can do a lot of good things with power, right? Maybe power. Money. Yeah, we kind of talked about money a bit. So I think, in the end, the most important thing in life is happiness. Yeah? So who would agree with that? Put your hand up, yeah? I think, right, in Divine Principle it says, we're all seeking happiness, seeking not to... Wrong. No, it's not happiness, right? It could be. It's very easy to think happiness. But to be honest, I wouldn't agree. I think probably the most important thing in life is having good values or principles. So let's discuss that bit. What is a value? What do you guys think? Anyone Anyone want to risk an idea? You're going to have to get used to it, guys. I'm going to keep asking until I get responses, right? Yes. Sincerity, that's a value. So why is that a value, Jonathan? Yeah, okay. Helps to have good relationships with other people. Anyone else? What is a value or a principle? Yeah, I think, yeah. And that, that, for example, sincerity, like Jonathan says, is a value. So a value is something you think is more important than anything else, right? And it's kind of Ruth says, kind of rule you hold to yourself. So a value is something you consider more important than your feelings, right? And I'll get to this. Because a lot of times there is a conflict between our feelings and our values, right? So who wants to be happy? Hands up, who wants to be happy? Because I put happiness before, right? And for a lot of people, happiness is maybe the most important thing. Like if we go back to this list here, I would say all of these things are important, right, in life. I'm not saying like, oh, definitely none of them. Even power, like that sounds kind of like evil, like some kind of, power. You're going to be a supervillain if you're looking for power, right? But that's not necessarily evil, right? It depends how you use that power, right? With great power comes great responsibility. Spider-Man #1. But the most important thing, I think, is having good values or principles. And I'll explain what I mean, see if you guys agree. But happiness is, in a sense, is something you feel, right? Would you guys agree? You feel happy or you don't feel happy. You can feel content. It can feel fulfilled and sort of satisfied, and that's kind of like a deep sense of happiness. But what I'm saying here with values is that they're things that are even more important than feelings, even more important than a feeling of happiness. A lot of people, like I said, they want to feel happy with their lives. But this is the argument I want to make, is that actually a lot of times the feelings and our values conflict with each other. So, for example, eating junk food. We feel like eating we all eat junk food. We eat burgers, we go to McDonald's, we eat chips, we eat pizza, and that feels good, right? And sometimes we feel like eating those things. But probably is a value of ours to be healthy, right? Who wants to be healthy here? Does anyone not want to be healthy and kind of really obese and not able to move? Everyone wants to be healthy, everyone wants to be fit, right? Kind of strong, play sports, live a long life, right? That's a value you hold because you think that's more important than the feeling of wanting to eat junk food, right? You may eat junk food sometimes, okay, right? Everyone does, right? But generally, you won't eat so much that you become completely incapacitated, right? You can't move or anything. So, another example. This is kind of interesting. I'll tell you guys what you think. Say if you who has a dog here or who has a pet? Okay, and a dog specifically? I saw like a couple of hands. Okay. Say, and for those people who have a pet, they can imagine their pet, right? Say, if you go out and you're walking on the beach and you're with your dog, right? Then suddenly your dog kind of disappears somewhere and you're like, oh, where'd it go? And then you see out there in the sea, your dog drowning somehow. I don't know. He kind of jumped off a cliff or something. I don't know, why would he jump off a cliff? I don't know. But anyway, you see your dog drowning and it's like he's kind of yelping and barking. You're like, I got to save him, right? But then maybe like 10 meters away, there's a person drowning. Well, I don't know why there's a person drowning. They probably jumped after your dog to try save your dog, but couldn't swim. Strange, I know. But there's a person drowning as well. Who would you save? But this person, you don't know. They're a stranger. You don't know who they are, right? They're just a random person you've never met before. Who would you save? This is your dog, right? You love your dog. Who would you save? The person or your dog? Ideally both, right? But let's be realistic. You can't. It's difficult. Your dog's a big dog. It's difficult to carry both. Don't try to get around it, right? It's difficult to carry both at the same time. If you've done swimming lessons, you know that's kind of maneuver when you save someone. You go on your back and you kind of, and you keep them above, their head above the water, right? You can only do that with one. So who would you save? Someone said dog? Who would you save, guys? You got to make, like, they're drowning right now. They're drowning. Person. Is that unanimous? Okay, who would save the dog? Hands up. Your dog. The dog you love. You can be honest. Who would save the person? Hands up. Okay, so we'll go by majority. So majority would save the person. Why? You don't know the person. Why would you save them? Why? So I think what Marcus said was that the person is more valuable than the dog. Is that why everyone else would save the person? Your dog that you've loved and you've raised since they were a puppy, you have pictures of them in your room as a puppy. You probably have videos on YouTube of them as a puppy, like 500,000 hits because they were so cute. Why? Why, guys? Come on. Why would you save the person? A majority of you said. You agree with Marcus? People agree with Marcus? Yeah, was that yeah? That was like a yeah. Yeah, you agree. Yeah. Because if you save the person, it's because you agree or you believe that human life is more valuable than an animal's life. Even though you love that animal a huge amount, you hold a value. You have a principle within you that believes human life is inherently more valuable, right? And I'd agree with that, right? Because we think that human beings, they have consciousness, right? They have, animals have feelings. A lot of people, research says animals have feelings and things, but human beings are kind of, a lot of people see them, not everyone, right? A lot of people do believe animals should be saved over humans, right? But I would think most people believe that human beings are more valuable. They have consciousness. They're, what we believe everyone's a child of God, right? And they have a spirit and all these kind of things, yeah? So, yes, it's a battle. You've got to make that decision. These are just two kind of examples. The dog and the human being is a bit extreme, I do agree. But every day, you battle between your feelings and your values. Right? Think about it for a second. And you realize you do, right? Every day, perhaps you feel like doing something, but you tell yourself, no, that's perhaps not the right thing to do. I want to do what's good. Right? Because a lot of times, I don't know, maybe you guys feel, maybe it's easy to get confused perhaps sometimes and think what I feel is who I am or what I believe, right? You feel something like, oh, I really want to, I don't know, example's not coming to mind, but no examples coming to mind. But say if you really wanted something, say for example, you wanted, you really badly wanted some like video game console, like the newest, I don't know, PS4 or something that came out, right? But you didn't have money for it. Or you didn't have money for it. And you knew you probably wouldn't be able to save up for ages. But then you have the opportunity to maybe take it. And you feel like you really did want it, right? But you tell yourself, no, I'm not that kind of person, right? So sometimes maybe it's easy to feel, oh, because I wanted that means, I felt like that, maybe that is me. But not really. Right? Because you have this value that said, no, stealing is wrong. Yeah? So don't get confused sometimes to think that just because you feel a certain way, that's how you are or that's how you should be. Right? So much of what is wrong, much of the wrong in the world is caused by people not having higher moral values or not following their higher moral values. Right? I believe this. I really do believe this. Because, as I said, a lot of people perhaps don't hold the same or don't hold a higher moral value. Maybe they just don't have them. Yeah? And so they can easily do things that they feel like doing. So, okay, some examples are coming to mind now. So, maybe they feel like going out and, using other people for their own aims. right? That could be in many different ways, right? Maybe if you're in a job and you'd easily step on someone else in order to get a better job, right? Or a lot of people do this in love, right? In relationships, they just want to have something from someone. They want to, for example, sleep with someone or have some kind of relationship with someone, but they don't want to commit long term. They don't really care about that person in the long term. They just want to have some kind of temporary sort of fling, pleasure, and then they let that person go. And so they use that person, right? And so their value, the value that they don't have, is to value the preciousness of each person, right? The preciousness, and that actually other people are like us, that we want to be happy. We don't want to be used, right? There's this thing, have you guys heard of the golden rule? Anyone heard of the golden rule? To treat others as you'd like to be treated yourself. Jesus said that one as well. So that's the golden rule, right? And that's a value. If you hold that value, then you're not going to treat people in a way that you don't want to be treated. Some people just don't have values, right? So maybe you heard what's going on in, for example, the Middle East, right, with ISIS. Anyone heard of ISIS? You guys must have heard of ISIS, right? Some really terrible things are going on there. And I think a lot of times, those people don't necessarily value human life at all. Some of those people, right, who if you commit terrible atrocities and you kill people, it means you'd rather them people die for your aims rather than value those people in themselves. Yeah. So this is quite important, I think. So I think the question is, well, how do we decide what a moral value is then? Like, what is a moral value? That's a really good question. It's like a deep philosophical question, right? Because it means deciding what is good and what is bad, right? So we need to decide what is good and what is bad. So, has anyone said to you, I'll do whatever makes you happy, whatever floats your boat? Anyone said that to you? Or has anyone heard that kind of phrase before, like, just do whatever that makes you happy? That's it's quite a prevalent sort of belief in our society today. A lot of people as long as you're not, kind of infringing, or as long as you're not hurting other people or getting into other people's business, then do whatever makes you happy, man. It's cool, man. It's all good. Just do whatever makes you happy. It's cool. I don't really care. But is that good? That's the thing. If you do whatever makes you happy, is that good? This is the point, right? And that's the question you need to ask yourself. Is that following, if you do whatever makes you happy, does that follow a moral value? Does that make it good, right? So, okay, well, we're trying to decide what is good and bad here. What about following your conscience? Who would think that's quite a good thing to do? Yeah, following your conscience. Usually your conscience tries to tell you what is good and what is bad, right? Not necessarily doing what you feel is good, but your conscience says, no, that's probably not a good idea. You probably shouldn't say that to someone else because that's going to hurt them. Maybe you should say sorry because you did that. Think of that person, right? And yeah, I'd agree with that. But your conscience a lot of times is kind of educated, right, by how you've grown up, by your background, perhaps. Right? Your conscience, in a sense, has a certain, maybe an idea of what is good and bad, but that's how you've grown up. So we've grown up in the church, so we hold a lot of the church's values. Maybe some people didn't. Maybe some person grew up with that as an orphan in the slums of Rio de Janeiro or something like that, right? What kind of values would they have? Probably quite different from our values. Yeah, and probably, unfortunately, because they grew up in poverty and in a slum with no parents, and they just had to survive, probably they don't hold values like, oh, don't steal, or, they did whatever they could do just to survive. And that's not necessarily their fault. It wasn't their fault that they grew up in the slums, right? Or they had no parents. It wasn't their fault. But then their conscience only knows a certain right and wrong. Like, okay, I've got to survive. The right and wrong is about survival. Yeah. So actually, it's a little bit more complicated. Like, thinking about it, it's like, oh, man, okay, what is right and wrong then? Yeah. Well, this is what I think. Oh wait, I've got a couple of things here. Yeah, following conscience, I mentioned that already. So in the end, the question is, what is actually then the standard, right? If we're trying to figure out what is right and wrong, and trying to, in a way, have something for our conscience to connect to tell us what is right and wrong, when you ask yourself that question, what is the standard of goodness? What makes something good? Right? What is that standard? What's like the line? Because a lot of people think good is whatever makes you happy, right? Or survival of the fittest, right? Or maybe being the most successful I can be. Yeah? But what is the standard of goodness then? What I think is that through God we can know what is good. Right? That is one answer. And that's how we've kind of been raised. That through seeing from God's perspective, through living for the sake of others, being unselfish, trying to practice something called true love, then that is a standard we can connect to what is good, right? But this is important because this is a big question. Because say if you're not really sure if God exists, or you don't really know what God's standard is, or what God's trying to teach us, then it's difficult to connect to those ideas, right? But I think we're all familiar with these sort of teachings, right? To see from God's perspective, live for the sake of others. Before, I wanted to come back to this, right? I put right at the beginning, what's the most important thing in life? I had one of them as love. What do people think that's pretty important, right? Because I just, maybe when I said, no, it's values, and you're like, wait, what about love? Wait, no. Go back to love. And I would, in a sense, I wanted to come back to that, because in a sense, I would agree with you, in a sense. But what love are we talking about, right? Is it the love that you feel that you want, or is it true love, right? There's a difference here. So if we follow our feelings, then we always want love, right? We want love from people. We want attention. We want people to, to spend time with us, people to love us. Yeah? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Everyone wants to be loved. Yeah? But if you hold that as your value, people should love me, then that's probably not a value. Again, you're following your feelings, right? But what is true love? And this is, going a little bit deeper into what we believe in our church, right? Is that true love isn't selfish love. It's focused on others, right? Living for the sake of others. Focused on being unconditional to other people, right? Not wanting something back, but giving to other people. So I think so in that way, then yeah, true love would be a value, right? A value to live by. Because you're not following your feelings just to want to take love, but you want to give love. Do you understand the difference there? I saw like one nod. Yeah? Do you see that difference there? That's an important distinction, right? Between selfish love and true love. So, what about happiness, right? What about happiness? Well, happiness is also I think it's a really important thing, definitely. What's the point, of living a miserable life? No one wants to live a miserable life. But real happiness is connected to long-term happiness. Real long-term happiness is about being a good person, actually. Like a lot of, maybe Connie can tell me later, but a lot of psychological studies these days connect being happy to being a good person, like to doing things for other people. This whole notion of giving something back and serving your society or helping other people. A lot of times if you go into a job and you don't see a deeper meaning in it, like in the sense that you're helping society, you're helping other people, a lot of people don't find great fulfillment in that job. They feel like, it's kind of meaningless because I'm not doing anything for other people. I'm not making the world better. I'm not helping anyone in any way. Yeah. So long-term happiness, real happiness, is actually connected to being a good person, which is connected to having good values. Yeah. However, short-term happiness, or following your feelings, maybe just kind of doing things that you want to do, kind of being selfish, can give you kind of maybe short-term happiness, kind of give you, a short-term sense of pleasure or fulfillment, but doesn't last usually, right? And that's interesting. Like, why is that? Because I think I think through what I've experienced myself, and I think, it's something, if you look into more, long-term happiness is connected, like I said, to being a good person. Whereas, you can feel really good about maybe, you stole that PlayStation 4 and you're playing it and you're really enjoying it, but after a while you feel like, well, it was a place, that's cool, but maybe you start to feel bad, maybe you start to feel guilty, and you want to go on to the next thing. Like, okay, PlayStation 4, what's the next thing I can steal to kind of give me that kind of fix to make me feel good again? Yeah. So, you are constantly told what is good and bad in your life, right? Do you think, are you told what is good and bad in your life, you guys? I'm just kind of like trying to tell you what's good and bad now in your life, but, right? Don't you? Your parents tell you what's good, what you shouldn't do, what you should do. Probably your teachers do the same thing. But probably also society is telling you always what's good and what's not good, right? Maybe, certain celebrities or politicians or your friends, loads of people telling you what's good and what's not good. But in the end, only you can choose how to live. Yeah. So what do I mean by that? Well, connect to what I was just saying before about values, having good values. You need to realize what does it mean to have a good value. And I'm telling you what I think it means to have a good value and to be a good person. It's not follow your feelings, but go for those things that, connect us to a higher vision to help others, right? That, for example, like I said, through God, living for the sake of others, true love, these things. But in the end, you need to actually kind of realize that yourself. Like, everyone can tell you, like, I can tell you, seriously, Mia, like, having values is so important. But if you don't think that yourself, like, if you're kind of like, oh, well, I don't know, really, like, I kind of like to do what I feel, then, well, it's not going to make any difference. So what actually I want you guys to do is to think about it. Because at the beginning, when I said happiness, right at the beginning, I was like, what's the most important thing? And the next slide I put up was happiness. Well, you don't have to say it, but maybe some of you are like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. Like, yeah, cool. But I think what's really important is that you think, is it really happiness? Is happiness the only goal in life? Yeah, is that the most important thing in life? Yeah. So I want to do, just to end, I want to do a quick exercise for you guys, right? Because this is a lot of stuff. I know I've kind of gone through a lot of kind of important ideas, yeah? But I think something that makes it quite real, that helps us maybe figure out, okay, what are those good values? And yes, good values are important, is to do this exercise. So, your eulogy. Today, I went to Auntie Mara's Sangwa ceremony. It was very nice. And I thought it was kind of, in a way, perhaps fitting to do this kind of exercise. So what I want everyone to do, well, who knows what a eulogy is here? What's a eulogy? Like a speech someone gives at the end of your life, right? Talking about your life, in your funeral, your sangwa, right? But what I want you guys to do is now to think about the end of your life. So, everyone close their eyes. And maybe you feel like, oh, another one of those closing eyes exercises. I'm just going to fall asleep. But I would recommend doing this, because this is an important question, right? I'm asking you, what is the most important thing in your life? From my point of view, I think it's having good values. But you need to answer that question for yourself. So, now, keep your eyes closed. Imagine far in the future, 70, 80 years' time, maybe 100 years' time. And you're at your funeral, right? You're at your sangwa ceremony now. You can see, your casket's at the front. You're lying there, looking pretty good, quite young for your age. Did a good job. But you've got everyone in the audience, your family, your friends, community. Think about the audience. Look at the different faces that are there. Your family members, different friends, relatives. And then the most important people in your life come to the front, right? So maybe, your family members come to the front, they give a speech, and maybe some of your closest friends, they come up and they give a speech, and they talk about you, and they talk about your life. Now imagine, what would you want those people to say? Imagine them speaking, right? Imagine them saying, things about you, how well you've done in your life, what kind of person you were, what kind of things did you accomplish. What do you want them to say? And imagine them saying that. It probably wasn't, he made a lot of money in his life. He made like tons of money, right? It probably wasn't that. It probably wasn't, he had such a good CEO position in that company. That was like, he worked like most of his life, and then he got there at the end, and then he died. But anyway, and it's probably not like, he did all the things that he wanted to do that made him feel happy. Probably you don't say that kind of thing, right? Usually it's about like, well, this person, they did this. They were such a loving person. They were able to accomplish these things for others and for the world, right? They were able, maybe they did make loads of money. Maybe they were very successful, but then they used that money and success to benefit other people, right? Just think about it. They were a person that was generous, that was loving, giving, kind, humble, courageous, these kind of things, yeah? So you can open your eyes. And I hope that's a good exercise. I remember doing that before, a while ago, and thinking, yeah, like, those are the most important things. And I think if we want to live a life that we can feel proud of, and that other people can feel proud of, and other people can feel, wow, I'm honored to have been a part of that person's life, it's usually to do with having really good values, right? Being a good person. Not just being a happy person, not just being a successful person, right? Or powerful person, right? And it's a lot to do with having true love, being a loving person, in the sense of not, I want people to love me, right? But I want to love other people. Cool? So, hopefully you guys can think about that. And start to answer those questions for yourself. That's what I want you to take away the most. Like, ask those questions to yourself. Yeah? Okay. Great. Maybe I'll just end with a prayer. Please join in prayer. Dear Heavenly Parent, thank you so much for this afternoon, and that we could all gather here as brothers and sisters. We really want to try to make the most of our lives, especially as we're young. We have so much opportunity, we have so much capability to do so many amazing things with our lives, Heavenly Parent. But we need to point our lives in the right direction. We need to really try to find the right path. It's so easy to be influenced by all the kind of noise around us, not necessarily to do the right thing. But I think in the end, when we look back on our lives, we want to feel like we were good people, and we could do good things for others. So I pray we can, start to think about those kind of questions ourselves. We can ask ourselves what we think are the most important values, and how we can live our lives based on those values. In the end, I think if we try to find you in our lives, Heavenly Parent, then we can connect to this kind of higher source of love, true love, and try to follow those values that you want us to live by, to live for the sake of others, to be kind and generous. And so we ask for your guidance. We ask that you can be with us in our lives, and in the coming weeks, especially as we start school again, we can think about, how we can prepare ourselves for the future. We're all studying and, preparing academically or, developing our talents and abilities. But underneath all those things, we need to think about how can we prepare and develop our hearts, our compass for what is right and wrong, our conscience. Heavenly Parent. So I want to offer you now this prayer, and we're grateful for this time. And I pray this on behalf of everyone here. My name is Samarine Hen Kim, Central West Couple, RG.
So if you just want to join me in a moment of reflection. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Samuel. Another round of applause for Samuel. Yeah. So, as aforementioned, I actually completely forgot he was giving the sermon today, and so hastily prepared something. And actually what's interesting is a lot of what he said was really along a similar vein, but he did it way better than I would have done it. So thank you so much for that. And so now if we could all rise and welcome up the band for the offering song. Please join me in offering prayer. Dearest Heavenly Parent, thank you so much that we can all be gathered here again, and I really pray that you can accept this offering. However small, it's really about the honest and sincere heart with which we give. So I pray that you can really do good with these donations, and that we can really donate with a heart to contribute, and with a sincere heart to give as well. Heavenly Parent. Please be with us today, give us a really fruitful and productive day, and that we can talk with each other and share with each other, and really prepare ourselves for Monday morning with school and a new week, and that we can go about our week with dignity and taking on board all the things that our older brother Samuel has shared today. I'd like to offer this prayer now in my name, Ruth Johnson, wife of Tom Lida, a blessing shall come from our Jesus. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have an awesome month.